I realized that I am not a city-bred person. I am very different. I come from a small place, and some of my values, my value system, how I think about that is different.
What are some pivotal points that actually made this happen?
I would say IIM Ahmedabad was one. Really applying yourself, doing hard work and learning, I think came from IIM. After that, consulting, I would say, was another one. The ability to not let hierarchy matter much.
Of course. Yes.
Which helps hugely. Titles and everything starts mattering a little less. So just owning who you are and understanding who you
And
are.
acceptance.
And accepting it.
Yeah.
So that personal and professional pivot for me happened in the consulting time frame. I was a part of the leadership team with people with so many years of experience. Firstly, a woman. Second, a woman who
Young woman.
is young, also looks young. I mean, I have tried wearing glasses. I have tried putting my hair up in a bun. I wear saris all the time. It is to bring
Just
a
to
little
look-
bit of
look
that
the part.
look the part.
A job you'd have loved to do if not this one.
Oh my God. I would probably have been a curator in a museum in London.
Oh my God. Okay. So different.
Yes. So I did a plant round and I pointed out 5 things that should have been done in a different way. I work in a manufacturing organization. I do plant rounds for a living and I know how plants need to work, what are the kind of things, improvements that you need to do. And the leader of the organization looked at some other people and said, she knows so much about the plants.
Surprise, surprise.
Welcome to another episode of People Connect's Women at Work, bringing to you stories of successful women corporate leaders. Brought to you in partnership with our luxury partners, Mercedes-Benz Landmark Cars, and our styling partner, Vero Moda. I'm Kavita and this is Anjali.
Manufacturing, a world full of machines, far-flung plant locations, and late-night shifts. Sounds daunting? Well, we have someone with us today who is going to break all those myths and stereotypes. Let's meet Shweta Arya, MD Cummins India.
Hi.
Hi Shweta.
Hi. So nice to see you both.
So nice to see you as well. Welcome to our show.
Are we ready?
I think so.
Let's go. Welcome Shweta, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for joining us. We are at the main segment, the meat of the show, and we'd love to start with your journey. It's on paper, it's super interesting already. You started in consulting, you went to travel services, and you head a large manufacturing organization today. But where did it all really begin? What's the background to the background?
Nice to be here today with you, Kavita and Anjali.
Thank you.
I would say my journey probably began when I was 5-6 years old. I was brought up in a small town. I was brought up in Agra. But I used to spend a lot of time with my grandfather at that point in time. And he would ask me at the age of 5 or 6, I still remember, that would you like to become an IAS officer or an IPS officer?
At 5?
Yes, 5 or 6, yes. And I obviously had no clue what that meant. It was just something. And it's like how all parents and grandparents in that time used to like to ask the kids, what would you like to be when you grow up? My father was a doctor. My mother was a postgraduate. So there's a lot of focus on education. I was interestingly brought up in a big joint family where there were 6 kids. I was the eldest and there were 5 girls and 1 boy.
Wow.
And all of us were quite encouraged to participate in a lot of things as well as like education. Going to the best school possible. In
The
that
focus
city.
was very, very clear.
Focus was very clear, and I don't think I grew up thinking that there was any other way to live life rather than find what you like, work in that space, be independent. That was probably instilled very early on. Like I said, 5, 6, at the age of 5 or 6, I used to have those conversations. So probably from there. And after that, it's a journey. When I was growing up, being an engineer, if you get good grades in school, is probably what everyone
At
These
that
days,
time, right?
we have so many
Yeah,
options.
yeah. At that time, doctor,
Yeah.
engineer,
Yes.
CA, MBA.
I used to feel I don't want to be a doctor because there was already one in the family.
Yeah, I know all
My
about that.
father
My
was-
mom is a doctor and she kept telling us that if one of you become a doctor, I'll open a hospital. But none of us wanted to do
Yeah,
it.
no, I had no interest
Yeah.
and I saw my father's time being very limited in the
Yeah.
household because of being a doctor. But like I said, small town, very few opportunities in the city. You get good grades and you think, oh, engineering is probably the thing that you'd like to do. I ended up becoming a computer science engineer. That used to be the thing which
Yeah.
was most
Yeah.
sought after
Yeah.
in the time when I was doing my graduation. Ended up doing my MBA again, very set process. I don't think till that point in time I had even really given a thought of what is it that I really would like to do.
And from one of the best B schools in the country.
From IMA, yes, a privilege to go there for sure. I ended up in consulting because I liked that space far better than investment banking. I think, again, no specific thought other than the fact that I would rather enjoy consulting
Yeah.
much more. I think that is slowly from there I started recognizing and realizing what is it that I'd like to do.
Interesting. Firstly, very inspirational journey. It's easy to say you head a manufacturing organization. The kind of scale you lead at this point of time is super inspirational for so many people who come after you, men and
Scale
women.
and her age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The real young achiever.
Yes.
As you look back at this journey where you are like at a very huge leadership position right now, what are some pivotal points that actually made this happen?
I would say IIM Ahmedabad was one where you enter, just as many other students across the country, but you see the best of the best around you.
Creme de la creme of the
You get
the world.
inspired. You learn so much.
Yeah.
You learn so much that, really applying yourself, doing hard work and learning, I think came from IIM. It also gives a platform, a boost,
Yeah.
no matter what we say. It's a privilege, like I said, and it gives a really good platform for you to explore much more than you ever had the privilege of exploring. So that definitely was a pivotal point for my journey. After that, consulting, I would say, was another one.
Yeah.
There was a professional pivot as I joined consulting because things like, obviously, the learning curve being very steep,
Yeah.
and you're working with the kind of minds who are also really brilliant, and the opportunities that you get at a very, very young age. In the first year, one of the projects that I was doing, I was alone in that project because there were quite a few of us, but each one of us was in a different location in India. And I was talking to the CEO and CFO of the organization. I wasn't even 30.
Yeah.
And the kind of, obviously, learning, confidence, experience.
So the exposure started very, very early.
Yes. And
in
one
life.
of the pivotal points, I would say, in consulting, again, apart from the learning and the experiences, was the ability to not let hierarchy matter too
Yes.
much,
Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yes.
which helps hugely. Titles and everything starts mattering a little less.
Yeah.
Really, the value add that you're doing to the
Yeah.
organization matters
Yeah.
a lot more.
Yeah.
So that professionally was a pivotal point. Personally, was also some pivots that I saw. Like I told you, I came from a small town. I don't think I was such a confident person in terms of speaking and going out and talking.
Second guessing yourself a lot at that time.
Less of that, but trying to remain in the background a little more. That consulting gives you opportunities
Yeah.
and platforms.
Yeah.
So that personal pivot also happened for me, where I started being my own self and also owning my own self. I realized that I am not a city-bred person. I am very different. I come from a small place, and some of my values, my value system, how I think about that is different.
Yeah.
And just accepting that, not trying to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
Consulting can be a very flashy world
Yes.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
But just realizing that,
But very
that
high pressure, right?
high pressure,
Yeah.
but your B school education prepares you for that. So, you have that ability
Yeah.
to handle the pressure. You learn. But more for me was the adjusting to the environment of
Yeah.
consulting, which felt very different
Yeah.
for me. Initially, I might have tried to fit in.
Hmm.
And then finally, after a few years, I realized I need to be who I am,
Yeah.
which may not be the flashy person
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
very outspoken or, extremely well traveled, extremely well dressed. I may not be that
Yeah.
person. And that is probably not who I am, nor will I ever be. So just owning who you are and understanding who you
And
are
acceptance.
and accepting it.
Yeah.
So that personal and professional pivot for me happened in the consulting time frame.
Very interesting. And so much of, I can relate to a lot of it because I do come from a consulting background, and I used to get daunted by the flashiness of it all. But then
Yeah.
you kind of move on because you,
But Kavita, you too. You've been, I think, yourself. You've retained your authenticity through
Yeah.
the years.
I think it also, you take time and then you realize you're adding value
Yeah.
for sure. So
Yeah.
maybe nothing else matters really, right? Then you're adding value to yourself and your clients.
Hmm.
But you spoke about owning yourself in the middle of this conversation. We believe that congratulations are in order, Shweta. You've done something big at Cummins. So do you want to share that with us?
So this happened just a month or so ago, Kavita. I was made the MD of the organization 1st of September, but just recently, about a month ago, I was named as the officer of the company for which I work, which means it's probably the highest position
Wow.
in the organization. The company I work for is very large, multinational, about 75,000 people, and there are very, very few
Amazing.
people who reach that
Wow.
position. My voice, the voice of the
Yeah.
region that I lead, is important, and how can I use that more to further the cause for the region? So I think I'm the youngest.
Thank you for saying that.
That's a huge
we-
achievement, and you're saying it like so nonchalantly. Look at what you've done.
if you're not saying it, I would have asked you, but I'm glad you said it yourself, because that's also something that's also part of the inspiration to be able to say, I'm the youngest. I'm also, manufacturing female leaders are far and few between, not particularly to this organization, but in general across the industry.
Yeah.
So that's an inspiration. But to be able to say that, sometimes we have to say it ourselves, because otherwise that gets lost in the melee. And
I'm
You know,
learning.
yeah.
I'm learning. I would have said that later, Kavita, but it's a part of my purpose now for the last many years to bring more women into the main fold, and manufacturing, engineering offers many career opportunities, fulfilling career opportunities for women. So it's a part of my larger purpose. And I'm learning that while I might feel uncomfortable saying some of these things, it can help some others
Exactly,
who
yes.
are probably early in their career journey
Yes.
to see the art of the possible.
Yes.
That's our purpose
So,
too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So that's why I started talking about it, although it still feels uncomfortable for me to talk.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Firstly, so authentic, and you come across like this normal, confident, authentic person, and you've made it all sound very easy. I did engineering. I did MBA from the top B school in the country.
And I'm the top
I'm
officer
the
in my
youngest,
company.
and I'm the officer,
Yeah.
and so on. But it's also, none of this is easy. I think all of us in this car know that each of our journeys it's full of ups and downs. It's not a smooth road. There are blemishes along the way. Would you like to share some pieces that have tested you in this journey, that you've worked through, you've kind of solved for, or maybe some of these are not solvable for, but what were some of those points?
There are, like everyone else, there are ups and downs, and there are times when you don't feel confident in yourself. So for me, very specifically, I have a 7-year-old son, right? And I've been working all through, even as my son is growing.
Yeah.
There have been many times where he was very young, and we know that kids need their parents around more when they are really young.
Yes.
So I was...
It never gets
Yeah.
easier, by the way. Let me tell you.
I'm sure they just need you a little more.
Yeah.
Maybe when they grow up, they don't need you.
It's a different kind
around
of need.
as much,
Yeah,
yes.
It's a different kind of need.
Yeah. I have, I'll tell you this. I was chosen to be part of a very exclusive leadership development program at
Okay.
Cummins in 2019. It's an executive development program and it's one of a kind. Every 2 months you travel to the US. It is really one of a kind and it just doesn't help you build your skills and capability, but also your leadership.
Yeah.
So you can imagine it was a really very, very amazing thing to
Yeah.
come my way. And my son was 1 year old. And I had to leave him
Tough choice,
and go
tough
to the
choice.
US for 10 days every 2 months.
Oh gosh.
Oh my God.
I had to wean off my kid because I had to
Oh.
go and do this
Okay.
travel. So it's, there are times like these which get extremely tough on
Yeah.
you.
And I'm sure that question,
Um,
right? Am I doing right?
There are times like these which get extremely tough on
Yeah.
you.
And I'm sure that question,
Um,
right? Am I doing right? The guilt.
Always.
Yeah, it's not
always.
easy to deal with.
Always.
and-
There are also, when you deal with, this is one part, there are also biases. You said I am in a manufacturing organization, leading a large manufacturing organization. When I went there, it was so difficult. I was a part of the leadership team with people with so many years of experience, right? Firstly, a woman. Second, a woman who
Young woman.
is young, also looks young. I mean, I have tried wearing glasses. I have tried putting my hair up in a bun. I wear saris all the
Yeah.
time. It is to bring
Just
a
to
little
look-
bit of
look
that,
the part.
look the part. Otherwise, I would not look the part. I would not blend in at all. So, and you learn to own yourself for sure, but
Yeah.
initially it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's really overwhelming. And some amazing people you meet in these kind of spaces.
Yeah.
People who know their work, the industry, the domain for years,
Yeah.
and they are brilliant at
Yeah.
it, right? So you recognize that although your degree has given you a platform, someone being really brilliant at what they do in the organization doesn't even need that degree. They're just amazing already. And dealing with that kind of experience, sitting at those tables, especially when you don't come from the manufacturing world, is daunting.
You know, Shweta, that's interesting because it leads me to the next question that's been in my mind. You spoke about this, being female, being young, being one of the youngest people amidst leaders who come in with a lot of experience and a lot of leadership and so on, right? And this is not just about now, but it must have been the case through your career trajectory because you've been ahead of the curve a lot in your career. Were there, and this is the tricky part, right? Because unconscious biases do seep in everywhere, and in your case it's two-pronged. There's a gender bias, there's an age bias as well. Did you face that? And how did you deal with some of those? What's something that our listeners can take away from in terms of how to deal with such situations?
What are your personal hacks?
I don't know if I have any, but I'll share a few things. Gender, yes, right? Not in consulting, but as you move to the industry, you find I have been fortunate to be part of organizations which really were more conscious in assimilating not just different genders, but also different kind of voices. So one is really look for the culture, look for the organization which respects different voices. It's not just women voices, different voices. If they respect different voices, that
Diversity is
probably
in the culture then.
Yes, that is the kind of place you'd want to be. So that's what but yes, the age, absolutely yes, I still face it.
But that's a non-gender thing also, right? Anybody who's young.
Yes, it could be true, for sure. But when it's a woman looking young,
I think it's an added
Double
it's
whammy.
a double
It's a double
whammy.
whammy.
It's a double whammy, right? As it is. So think about it. If I'm going to say our kind of customers who are construction equipment manufacturers, or somebody who's running a stone quarry somewhere in Chennai, and I'm meeting them, right? One, I'm a woman. They want to talk about the engine. They want to talk about the equipment. They've already made a bias in their mind that not sure whether she really understands the product or not. Sometimes when men are not able to look at women in the eye, it's probably just their upbringing. They're not used to it. But also, they are looking for those people who they think really would know the answer. there have been times where people have been surprised that I was able to talk about the product. It still happens.
Yeah.
So I did a plant round and I pointed out 5 things that should have been done in a different way. I work in a manufacturing organization. I do plant rounds for a living,
Yeah.
and I know how plants need to work. What are the kind of things,
Yeah.
improvements that you need to do? And the leader of the organization looked at some other people and said, "She knows so much about the plants."
Surprise, surprise.
Well, I'm the leader of the
Well,
organization. And I'm not supposed
you just
to
happen
know.
to be the CEO, but
Yeah, and
sure.
I'm not supposed to. Well, I will say that there are people in everywhere who are better at their jobs. Like there's someone who's the
Okay.
operations leader
Yeah.
who will know 10 times better than me.
Yeah.
But I would as well.
Interesting anecdote and so telling. It's a very telling experience. But I do want to switch gears a little, Shweta, because we can't lose the opportunity to tap into what you believe about women in manufacturing, and that's not about just leaders but across levels, right? Because there's so many myths and stereotypes about manufacturing, women in manufacturing, can't go to far-flung places, can't work in a plant, it's too tough, etc., etc. But who better to ask than you?
I think these are quite a few myths. So I'll give you examples. Especially in service, for example, like when we do service for heavy equipment, it's a belief that these will be in far-flung places, the assets will be in different difficult places, and women will not necessarily want to go there. Partly true. There are many women who come to us and say, "Why aren't you sending me there? If I don't go to these locations, if I don't work on those kind of assets, how will I
How will I learn? Yeah.
How will I learn?"
Yeah.
There are women ready to live in hostels, in far-flung places,
Yeah.
to go and work on some of those difficult to work cities, terrain, assets.
Yeah.
So not everyone is the same, and there are many, many, many women who are very driven, who really want to grow their careers in this space. So absolutely a myth.
Okay.
Again, heavy machinery is difficult for women to work with. Not really. There are organizations who've ergonomically improved their machines in the plants so that women can easily work on them.
And that's good for both
And that's good
genders,
for
right?
both. Exactly. So if you design for women, you make life easy for all your employees.
Oh, wow.
Right? So if you have a daycare center, for example, in the premises, which is now mandated by the law if you have employees over 50, but there are organizations which had them before as well.
Yeah.
There are more men who will come to you and say, "Please increase the capacity because we want to bring our kids." Daycare is not just for women to bring their
Correct.
kids. It's for both men and
It's for
women.
parents.
It's for parents.
Yeah.
And it can be a male person or a woman who finds very, very convenient to bring their kids into the daycare, which is in the office premises, very accessible for the parents. Right?
Especially the younger lot, right?
Yes. You arrange for transportation. You arrange for safe transportation during second shift or third shift. Everyone benefits. So these are the things I think which, thinking about what women might need, my view, helps you design organizations and setups which really just help all your employees.
Wow.
But the kind of work that we've been doing, Shweta, over the last 5 years now with Shemaker, for women in manufacturing, this year we did a roadshow also. We went to girls in campus across the country. They still don't know as much about the sector. So I think what we are trying to do is just show them career options, opportunities. People still think a tech job is a cushy job. I will be able to get work from home. I will be able to manage my priorities of life. But when we take to them and show them role models and people who are plant leads and women, girls who've really done well first 3 years and they are leading large P&Ls, large plants, large facilities, they're amazed and said, "Really? You do all this? You have so many people?" So it's eye-opening for them. But like you're saying, we have to keep pushing.
We have
needle.
to keep engaging with them, getting school children to see plant premises. Also, the younger generation feels what are the jobs which are cool and what are the jobs which are not. Some of the automation, robotics that is coming into manufacturing, connected devices, connected machines, it's all really cool. It's just about opening the eyes
door.
of
Yes.
young students to see, and they can build fulfilling careers.
Long term, 30-year
long-term,
careers.
fulfilling careers, getting opportunities, moving into different places, different cities, different
Yeah.
locations. There's a lot
Yeah.
to do.
And talking about fulfilling careers, you have made sure that there are jobs for thousands of people in this country. What can be more fulfilling than that? It's a way to look at it, in my
Yes.
view, right?
Yes.
It's,
Yes.
what else solves the problems of millions of people but steady jobs?
Yeah.
While we are at the point of more women in manufacturing, role models is one thing. You're a role model. Another is to make sure there are champions within to be able to drive this, and that is not restricted to women. Champions are
Yeah.
women and men.
Yeah.
Would be great to hear your thoughts on that.
I think champions are important for anybody who's trying to grow in a career, right? You need few of those people who can be your sponsors
Yeah.
or champions, as you call them. Definitely, very important. And I have been fortunate to find some of them. Some women, some men. There have been quite a few in my journey, and we need to find them as well. We need to. What I have found is having a personal connect by bringing in your authenticity into
Yeah.
the workplace really helps find those right people.
Yes.
Then they see who you are
Yes.
beyond just the work that you do. They see you as a person. In my case, they also see my purpose.
Yes.
And that purpose really helps connect with some of those who have similar purposes or similar backgrounds and similar zeal to
Yeah.
do something more than just generating the work or the money at the bottom line, right? Much more. The purpose is bigger. So you're able to connect with that purpose, and then they become your sponsors.
Yeah.
Anchors.
I'd like to call them sponsors because then they help you guide. They're talking
Navigate.
about you. They are
Opening more
opening
opportunities.
opportunities. They are talking to the wider
Yeah.
wider organization that here is what the person brings
Yeah.
to the table, and then you can be one.
Yeah.
And then you yourself can be a sponsor and a champion
You
for
can be
many
that
more.
person. Yeah.
Pay
Paid forward.
Yes, paid forward. Absolutely.
They say it right. Send the lift back down for the others.
Yeah.
The one that you traveled in.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And there have been not just women, but many, many, many men
Yeah.
as well who have done that for me over the years.
But also, I think, Shweta, I picked up something from what you said.
Yeah.
It's also about how intentional we are in seeking them out, right?
Oh, yes.
Because sponsors are not going to turn up and say, okay, I'm going to sponsor you now.
Yeah.
But I think it's also about asking for that, building that connect, bringing our authentic self. And,
Yeah.
a lot is about asking. And yeah.
Also showing your intention
Yes.
and commitment.
Yes.
Very important. People need to see how intentful you are, how
Yeah.
committed you are to this journey. If someone is a sponsor for me and they are pushing me forward, they are opening doors, suddenly if I decide, okay, I'm not committed to this any longer.
You can't let them down.
It's,
You
it's,
can't
it's
let
their
them down.
brand
It's
value
two
at
ways.
stake. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So also showing that intentfulness and commitment
Yeah.
goes a long way.
Shweta, if you were to really hear from you on, we've heard a lot about career. There's of course a huge family life. You touched upon your young son as you spoke to us today. What are 3 things you leave us with that can help our listeners and even us balance all of these better?
I think one thing for me is, since you touched on family, just having your priorities right.
Yeah.
And making sure people around you understand what your priorities are and why. There are, for all of us who are in the working world, not just women, men, anybody, we face those tough situations in life where we are needed in 2 or 3 different places. I have always been very clear about my priorities, and my family is my priority. So there are times when there are demands on me and my time where I have to put the family on the backseat for some time. And there are times when the family demands. But I'm very clear, if it's a sports day of my kid versus a very, very important meeting at office, you will find me at the sports day. I will figure out different ways of delegating that meeting, doing it later, doing it over Zoom or whatever. But I will
Whatever it
not
takes.
compromise on when my family needs me on those special moments or occasions, and even just generally. It's not just about the special moments and being there only for those, but just largely being with my family, taking those holidays, right,
of course.
and keeping them sacrosanct and not being on the phone when I'm on a holiday.
Yeah.
So those, at least priorities, very, very clear, and also make sure everyone else around you knows about them. Right. I think this is probably more specific to women. I have found that when some of us work in roles which come with a lot of responsibility, a lot of time commitment, then just the support system that you create around yourself. I call it building your village around you, and be it your parents, your in-laws, your spouse, your cooks, your nannies, your
All the help.
everybody, friends that you can depend on, or people who you can call, your son's pediatrician, for example, or, all those kind of
SOS calls
yes,
that people take.
and creating that village so that you can depend on them. They are there for you. If you don't have that to fall back on, you're mentally not able to offload your responsibilities, which you need to. So if you're committed to family time, be committed to family time. If you're committed to office time, be committed. Then don't mentally be thinking what has to be cooked tonight.
Be fully there,
right?
wherever you are.
That
Which
question,
is
the most important question.
What has to be
खाने में
cooked
क्या
tonight?
बनेगा?
Exactly. So you have to find ways and means of offloading the mental weight. Easy, especially in India, easy to find a lot of help, but mentally you might still be engaged. So I have found that even mentally offloading that extremely important. Yes. And probably the third one, which professionally I found extremely significant in my journey, is having a coach. I used to think many years ago that what is a coach going to tell me that, and I'm not sure if I want a coach. But over the last 8 years, I have had an executive coach. She's in the US, but she's really helped me, not just in my growth, but also being able to understand who I am, be myself, and also pushing me in directions where I was probably not ready to go, which is such an unlock. We don't realize it.
It's a game changer.
It is very different. So just as an example, as I was going through the process of selection for being the leader for my organization in India, as you can imagine, it's a 6 to 8 month process. There are other people in the
it's a huge
fray.
deal.
It's a big darn deal. And my usual self, I would have said, I have done the work, now what do I need to do? Right?
Let my work speak for
Let
itself.
my work speak. And that is such a non-correct thing. I don't know what else to call it. It is just not correct, because you have to speak for yourself, and you might have to speak to people who may not have known you and your work as much closely. So spending that time to be able to talk about yourself, who you are, what are you after, what is the impact you're after, and why do you want to do this, why do you want to be in that fray for that role. It's just, and my coach helped me through that. So,
you're the second leader this week I've heard from about a coach. It's
Is
like
it?
it's not a coincidence. It's I think you're right.
Yeah.
We come with a bunch of blind spots, and there's
So it's
a lot
totally
of
worth the
unlocking
investment.
that a third person can do.
Completely.
Yeah.
And just finding the right coach is
Yes.
also
It's a process.
it's a process,
process,
and I'm fortunate that I was able to. And sometimes you may hate them because they're pushing you in directions that you're not comfortable with in going. And my
They're
coach said
like
this to me just last week, that I know you hate me sometimes. And like, no, I mostly love you. Mostly.
Is it like the weight loss one who keeps telling us, "Ye mat khao, don't eat this,
No,
don't
no,
eat that."
no. Just because that person knows you so much, and she knows my purpose.
Yeah.
So she combines all of that and then pushes me and helps me. So hugely helpful. So I think those are the three things, Kavita. A long answer.
No, but very useful answer.
Very useful.
So thank you so much, Shweta. That was a fabulous main segment. But we're not done yet. So, our next section is putting you in the driver's seat. Not literally right now, but but metaphorically and literally in terms of what you do, your career, and so on. We have a bunch of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
And, yeah, I'm sure you're gonna wing it.
Not sure, but let's try.
Okay. One bold or game-changing move that has really redefined things for you.
I think joining a manufacturing industry.
Wow. Yeah.
I was called, many friends of mine had said, really? Is this what you want to do? So I'll give it a shot. Give it a shot for a few years.
Are you sure what you're doing?
Yes.
Are you sure about this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Brings us to the next rapid fire question. A job you'd have loved to do if not this one.
Oh my God. I would probably have been a curator in a museum in London.
Oh my God. Okay.
So different.
Yes. Never got the chance.
Maybe in the years coming later.
I don't know, yeah. But I would have loved to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Something you believe every working woman should do?
Have a lot of house help.
The more the
True.
better.
Yes.
One woman that you really admire?
There are, I don't think there's one person that I admire. There are different facets of people
Yeah.
that I admire and not restricted to women.
Okay.
There have been men and women in my life who I have picked up things from. So I can't call out one person. I
Okay.
admire things out of different people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. That brings us to the end of our rapid fire round as well.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Shweta. It was really lovely hearing from you.
And
Yeah.
so much to learn from. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Shweta. Your inspirational journey of really, quickly moving up the levels and being the person you are, I think is really an amazing feat. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It was fun. I was quite nervous for doing this. But it has been very easy.
It has been a good drive.
It's
Both
been a
of
good
you
drive.
and been a good drive. Yes.
Thank you. And that brings us to the end of another episode of People Connects Women at Work. Brought to you in partnership with our luxury partner, Mercedes-Benz Landmark Cars, and our styling partner, Vero Moda.
Don't forget to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whichever audio channel you prefer. Thank you.